Good afternoon, everyone. So our client team project is Event Host Venue Strategy of Sports Events Rights Holders. So this is our team. I'm Meet, we have Sahil, we have Atta, and Jose is online. So we'll be taking you through the whole case in few minutes. Let's talk about the client first, Northstar. They're a premier source of sports event organizers, meeting and convention planners. They have a magazine called SportsTravel in sports division brands. They do team conferences and expo. They do EsportsTravel Summit as well. But their main, in simple words, their main part is to connect these sports organizations with the sports events. And they are one of the premier connectors in the world. So taking you through the executive summary. So our objective was twofold. One was to understand the right holders' perspective, how they choose the host cities, and how host cities choose the right holders, or what sport event they want to carry out at the cities. So from the right holders' perspective, the main priority for them was risk management and venue readiness. That has been their premier choice of concern. Media broadcasting and sustainability is increasing for them, and it's pivotal for a lot of organizations as well. They value cost more than the ticketing revenue. So that is their focus from the right holders perspective, that what could be the total cost for the events. From host city perspective, tourism ROI was one of the top priorities for them. How they can build the brand, how they can improve the city legacy. Infrastructure gaps was a concern because having all the sports events at every city might not be possible. So that's one of the critical areas for them to look at when they are going for the bidding of the sports events. There is a huge focus on ESG, long-term legacy, and human rights for them. The key tensions. Right holders, they emphasize delivery capability, and cities, they emphasize tourism impact. In terms of infrastructure, it's sometimes misaligned that how things are between what are the expectations of right holders and what are the expectations of the cities. Financial guarantees are critical, but it's so hard to determine the financial guarantees for emerging sports because you don't have a lot of history to go by data where what numbers they can produce. Recommendations. Right holders, they adopt flexible models, stress on media engagement and fan engagement, and make ESG mandatory. Also, for cities, they need to lead with the ROI and branding, differentiate their bids through inclusion, wellness, and hospitality and transportations, how they can facilitate that through the sports events. So we have used three methodologies, comprehensive surveys from right holders side, from the city side. We also conducted unstructured interviews with some of the right holders. And we also conducted secondary research in qualitative, quantitative, and thematic analysis. So going through the criterias of the host city, we talk with a lot of sports federations, sports people, that what are the top criterias that they look at. So we came up with a list of 16 criterias. And after the survey was sent out and after the results came in, this was their results. The top is sports facilities for them, the infrastructure. Second most important was delegates and visitors capability, security, risk management, broadcasting, hosting experience, and cost. Surprisingly, ticket sales potential and personal relationships came at the lowest. If you look on the left side, we have the scores for each of the criterias which were ranked by the host cities, right holders. So as you can see, there is a huge gaps in how they evaluate each of the criterias. What we learned from it was professionalism of selection. They are moving from a personal relationship where how do you function with the host city? It's more about how professionally they can carry out the events. So there has been a clear shift in that. Infrastructure and risk planning dominates for them. It's one of the most important priorities, and they are very keen on how they can mitigate those risks. Operational excellence is very much important for a lot of organizations where they know that the capability is there. If the capability is not there, they don't want to run into a difficulty where sports events or experience might be hampered. Strategic side is more important than financial side for them. Support pillars like inclusion, sustainability, and medical readiness is becoming more and more important, but they are not decisive. The personal ties and local sporting popularity remains one of the least popular factors. Over to Jose.
Yeah, let's start with the bidding process. Most federations still open bidding, but there's also direct negotiation and invitation-only bidding. But the real challenge comes after the bidding is submitted. Three main challenges stand out: securing financial guarantees, ensuring infrastructure and operational readiness, and aligning event delivery with international standards. Key learning here is that successful bidding is not just about paperwork. They need credible financial backing, realistic infrastructure planning, and a culturally competent organizing committee that can actually deliver. Moving to hosting cost and financial implications, we have events for all city sizes, from small events of 150K to events of over 100 million for world championships. Right holders usually expect financial guarantees, but something interesting is that they also contribute either financially, through staff, referees, services, or value in kind. And one main takeaway here is that cities shouldn't only look at the revenue sharing, which tends to be limited, but they should also look at indirect returns from tourism, visibility, and long-term branding. Moving on to geographies, Europe still dominates, but we see growing activity in Asia and the Middle East, both as commercial hubs and image building strategies for their government. Looking forward, North America is the number one growth target with big events like the Mexico, US, and Canada 2026 World Cup and the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. The message here is that federations are shifting from loyalty towards traditional markets to regions that bring long-term strategic value. When it comes to delegates, visitors, and event scales varies enormously. It can go from a few hundred delegates to tens of thousands. Spectators range from a few hundred to over a million. And most events fall in the mid-range with a few thousand delegates and visitors and lasting between 1 and 2 weeks. And the host cities need to be flexible in capacity and have enough hotels, venues, and transport for mid-sized event, but I also need to be able to scale it up for larger ones. When it comes to venue and accommodation requirements, most federations require 3 to 4 star hotels for athletes and 5 star hotels for superstars and staff. Um, in terms of roof requirement, it's a wide range that goes from between 50 to over 30K. And when it comes to venues, most prefer indoor venues, but there's also big need of outdoor venues. Two-thirds prefer one field of play with that can be adapted, and a third require 2 or more field of plays. The insight here is that hosts need to balance quality standards with adaptability to different sport needs. When it comes to media and popularity and media coverage, broadcasting is now a non-negotiable for most federations. Almost all of them require national TV or streaming broadcasting during their events, and they expect cities to provide proper broadcasting facilities. This shows that for right holders, media reach is just as important as the event itself, because this is how they build a global audience.
Okay. So when it comes to safety, security, and medical, there's no number. Like there's no specified number. Okay, you need these many people on ground. No. But what they want is to have them a proper operational plan written when they submit the bid. So for them, the security, safety, and medical plans can vary from, let's say, one building to citywide or to the nationwide, depending upon what kind of event they would like to host. Human rights, ethics, and sustainability. So human rights are becoming more and more important for the rights holders because there have been events in past where PR disasters have ruined the reputation of the events, and they don't want this to happen again and again. So they want human rights and ethics policies within the organization. While on the sustainability side, there are 2 different sides. One is pre and during the event when they want like water management, waste management, what kind of suppliers they would like to have. Travel is one of the biggest emitter when it comes to the games. So they want to have sustainable plans for that. While it also comes on their sustainable legacy. They want to use those buildings if they're constructing something for the future, to host more events or for a long-lasting legacy of the event in the future. Ticketing and hospitality. So this is interesting. We saw 3 different trends in this. Basically, one is organization-led ticketing, which is the majority part of most of the events where organizer sells the tickets, while second major is between right holders and the organization as a combined effort. But there is a small number of events where right holders do all the ticketing because it's easier for them to do the ticketing using one kind of software for all different events, which can cut the cost for the organization and the organizers as well. But hospitality, what they have seen is most of the cities think hospitality is just catering, which is not. Hospitality is much more than catering. So they want them to have proper air access, transportation, venue hospitality, as well as 2, 4, or 5-star hotels. So all of that needs to be included in their plan. But let's go to the other side of the research, which is host cities. When we conducted the survey, there were the majority thought attracting visitors, increasing room nights, and destination awareness were the major priority for the host cities. While health and awareness and quality of life might be important for the right holders, but it's not at the high scale for the cities. Hosting and infrastructure. So it had mixed reviews. Basically, some were very happy with their hosting infrastructure to host multiple different kind of events, while some saw major gaps. But one thing that was common was to have aquatics, athletics, and multi-sporting complexes which are expensive to build, and there is not a lot of sustainable legacy out of it because it depends upon the city if they would like to promote aquatics and athletics of these kind of events in future or not. Hospitality. Most of the cities were very happy about their hospitality infrastructure. So they were happy about their air access, air connectivity, transportation within the city, availability of 4 to 5-star hotels, hospitable venues, catering, all of that. But the thing is, even the majority cities in the world can panic during the events, and which we have seen in the past. Major event organizers like Paris, Rio, Tokyo, everybody struggled when the event came to them, when the event date came, because these are some of the major cities in the world who has all of this but still struggles. Now over to Ata.
Thank you, Sandeep. So here in staffing and strategy, we were curious to know the number of people hosting cities dedicated to sports activity or sports events organization. So to our questions, we had 18 cities responded, and among them, surprisingly, 16% don't have staff dedicated to sports activities. And almost the majority of them had people, at least 1 or 2 persons dedicated to sports events organizations, and 11% have between 7 and 8 persons dedicated. According to the mission attached to them, we have 2/3 of the respondents mentioning that the staff that are dedicated to sport activities are only dedicated to this in order to increase their knowledge and have expertise in it. And 1/3 responded that these persons are dedicated to other activities such as cultural things, arts, and music event organizations. In terms of importance of organizing a sports event, approximately all of them mentioned that it's somehow important for them to host an event. We have actually 5 respondents who mentioned that in the organization and planning, they have envisioned to host a major event within the cities. Talking about the industrial relationship and financial incentives, 89% of cities respondents mentioned that now they attend conferences, events in order to have the knowledge, in order to have insights and be aware about the opportunities that can appear according to the event organizations. They are all aware that it may need heavy investments for them in order to attract right holders. And they know that these investments should vary according to the right holders' needs and demands. That's why the budget vary according to the range of the cities. We had budgets varying from $100,000 towards $40 million that cities invest in order to attract right holders to them. No right holders has a priority now. Cities consider all the right holders on the same scale, on the same level. So now we don't have a small right holder or big right holder. All of them are in competition. And they prioritize and majority the face-to-face relation with the right holders in order to build trust, to have a personalized relationship with them, and that which can lead to a bid selection. In terms of conclusion for the right holders, we had 5 points that we look into it. First was the financial expectation. So at the end of our research, we noticed that the financial expectations from the right holders vary according to the scale of the event that they give to a city. And the partnership between the right holders and the cities is growing. The emerging markets, as my colleagues mentioned, remain Europe, Central Europe, Asia, Middle East, and Americas. Americas including Northern America, Southern America, and Central America. In terms of infrastructure management, right holders prioritize stability, connectivity over money and new money investment into the infrastructure. Now they have new emerging core requirements that they take into consideration. Broadcasting. We know that now broadcasting is a major revenue generation channel. Safety and sustainability. This is over all other things that we were thinking at the beginning, and human rights for PR purpose as well. And there's a new landscape shift towards delivery, capability, risk management over money. So now, to the recommendation for the right holders. Our advice for the right holders was first to communicate more about tourism. So they have, whenever they go to the city to host the event, to communicate about the economical impact that these right holders may have, brand building, and always putting from the benefits that the partnership will deliver to the city. Now they have to put in front as well the accreditation and delegate costs, because all of them are thinking at reducing costs, but all this process can be something that they put in front and help the right holders to build it. Media as well, so build platforms in order to generate fun engagement and generate revenue, and adopt flexible financial criteria which can be suitable and adaptable to each city that they may select, and then make safety, sustainability, ethics as core requirements into the bidding process. Now back to Jose.
Looking at host cities, the main motivation is clear: economic and tourism impact, especially in hotel occupancy and destination branding. Community development and health outcomes are secondary, but many cities still face challenges, such as infrastructure gaps in aquatics and athletics, limited hotel capacity in peak periods, and not always having dedicated sports event staff. So the conclusion is that while events are eager to host more events, while cities are eager to host more events, they need stronger planning and industry relationships to really compete. In terms of our recommendations, cities should align their bid with a clear ROI and tourism branding, while also highlighting long-term benefits like legacy and inclusion. They should address infrastructure gap by collaborating regionally or working with federations on capacity building. They should invest in hospitality and transport, and also in building dedicated sport event staff. And most importantly, city needs to stay connected. Networking and visibility are often just as important as the bid itself. Thank you. We can move on to questions now.